Alright, so tonight I'm going to show you how I make my homemade ramen noodles. First thing we do, we start with rice noodles. These are available at Kroger's for me. Oriental stores probably have them. Wherever you can possibly get rice noodles. They cook quick. I don't have to worry about things. You know, since everything I'm using is going to be dehydrated, all I have to do is add hot water and these will cook. That's it. I'm going to do it in a jar, mason jar. Wide mouth works the best, otherwise you're going to have trouble getting everything in it. So, let's get started. First thing you want to do is take your bag of ramen and put it, of the rice noodles, and put it inside a Ziploc bag. And it's kind of folded. And what you want to do is to cut this part here, cut one side of it in half. Inside the bag, because these little rice noodles go all over your kitchen. Cut down the bottom. You take out a little block about like this. You put it in the jar, and as I said, it goes everywhere. So I have stuff all over my kitchen to clean up now already. Then I use vegetable bouillon cubes. The reason I use vegetable, not beef or chicken, is because I'm making a seafood based ramen. I'm using imitation crab meat, mushrooms, spinach, and onions and peppers. And I don't want conflicting flavors. So I'm going to use the vegetable bouillon. I'm sure that there is seafood bouillon available. I've seen it online, but in my area, this is the best I can get. So you take your bouillon cube. You only take half of one per jar. You just easily cut them in half. Throw it in the jar. And when you're cooking this, you got to make sure that gets dissolved very well. But anyway, after that I follow a recipe. This is a very simple recipe I use because if it was just me I would throw it together, but there's other people involved who like this, and so to give them some consistency and flavor, I follow a little recipe here. Said everything I have here is dehydrated, so it works out really well. Use a 1/4 cup of dehydrated crab meat. I cut it kind of fine this time, so hopefully it'll hydrate very well without too much whoop-de-doo. So we take a 1/4 cup of crab meat. And it doesn't have to be real exact, just kind of. There's a 1/4 cup of crab meat. A 1/4 cup of dehydrated mushrooms. Now for the tricky part. This is dehydrated spinach. I use 2/3 a cup because this is so light and fluffy. If you use anything smaller, really, it's just kind of, you either have to crush it or it's just so light and fluffy you hardly get anything in there. But I use 2/3 a cup of spinach. And boy, it smells wonderful though. You open that jar, you can immediately smell it. Now the hard part here, you see as it goes everywhere, is trying to get it into the jar. And just kind of get it down in there as best you can. Luckily I have clean counters because I cleaned them right before I did this, so I get to pick this up off the counter. There we go. Put the lid back on. Now we get to the spices. A dehydrated purple onion. I use 1 tablespoon of that. 1 tablespoon. And boy, that smells good too. Nice and sweet. Then we use sweet peppers. It's like bell peppers, Anaheim peppers I think it is, or there's another little bag that you can get of some really sweet peppers that work really well. These are dehydrated also. Like I said, everything's dehydrated. Take 1 tablespoon, dump that in there. Now we get to the hot peppers. This is a blend of habanero and Scotch bonnet. So this is really, really hot. It does not take much of this added to that to give it a kick. I only use 1/2 teaspoon of this. 1/2 teaspoon. That's all that is, right there. And it's going to make this just explode with flavor. The lid back on that. And one other thing here, just found that this works really well also. I only use 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder. Just a little bit in there, just to kind of add a little bit more distinct flavor to it. Alright, that's basically it in a jar. I dehydrated some lemons, and I put that in mine earlier today, a dehydrated lemon slice. It worked really well, but since the people I'm making this for right now haven't tried it with lemon, I'm going to make it the way they have it ordered, or the way they want it. They've tried it. And so basically, put the lid on. It's good to go. Now, the way to reconstitute this, I add 2½ cups of boiling water to this jar, and yes, this makes this jar really hot. After adding that, I let it sit for 5 minutes. I take the lid off, I burp it, reseat the lid really well, and then just mix the crap out of it. Just mix it as hard as you can, because you won't get that bouillon cube all mixed up. And mix it several different ways. Then I let it sit for about 20 minutes. You can eat it out of the jar, or you can pour it in a bowl, however you'd like to do it. Another way to cook this would be basically you get about 2½ cups, maybe a little bit more of water, put it in a pot on the stove, and just dump this in there. However you feel like doing it, they both work well. And like I said, besides the lemon, there's one more thing I add to this. Let me get that real quick. If I know I'm going to eat the soup that day, I add some of this Thai Tum Yum Instant Hot and Sour Paste. A little bit of this goes a long way. You don't need much. Probably 1/8 teaspoon maybe in this jar. It gives it a good kick. Of course, I'm from Texas. I love heat. I love the kick. The other people I'm selling this to right now are Filipino, and they like a little bit of kick. They don't put this in there. And if you're going to store it for several days, I wouldn't put a liquid, because this is kind of liquidy. So I don't think I would put that in there if I was going to save it for a few days. But basically, like I said, that is it. Very simply done. Any questions or comments, please just feel free to put them down below. I'll try to respond if there's any questions you have. Other than that, good luck. And oh, I forgot one very important thing. The vegetable bouillon cubes here have 35% of your sodium in half of this. So this is 35% of your sodium in here in one serving. And this has 1%. So that's 36% sodium in there, of your sodium for the day. One package of these has 33%. But per serving, there's 2 servings in here. You're getting 70% of your sodium off one package, whereas mine is only, add that up again real quick because I forgot how much it was. Mine's only 36. This one is 66. 66 there. If you have one of these other little oriental flavored ones, it's even more. This is 37%. You got to multiply that times 2 because there's 2 servings in one of these. Like I said, much lower sodium in this. Tastes great, cooks up good. Yeah, so please enjoy it, try it. You can make variations of this. Everything I saw on YouTube says do not put dehydrated peas in there because of how long it takes to cook them, which I can understand that. They said freeze-dried's okay, which I don't have any freeze-dried peas. I haven't been able to find any around here. But like I said, it's just a very simple, basic soup of what I have available, dehydrated. And besides the lemon slices, I'm going to do some lime ones later. And like I said, I put one of those in there in my lunch today, and it was really good. But the lime, I think the lime might be even better. So we'll see about that. Anyway, hope you have a great day. Thank you.